Imagine making the whole world laugh, while your own childhood was filled with hunger, fear, and loneliness. This is the story of a man who became a legend, not because life was easy, but because life was cruel, and he refused to break. His name is Charlie Chaplin, a child the world forgot. Charlie Chaplin was born in London, England, on April 16th, 1889. London was loud, crowded, and beautiful, but for Charlie, it was cold and unforgiving. His parents were performers. They sang on stage. They made people smile. But behind the curtain, their life was falling apart. Charlie's father was an alcoholic. He drank. He disappeared. And one day, he never came back. And just like that, Charlie's childhood changed forever. A mother fighting alone. Charlie's mother, Hannah, was left alone with 2 boys. No money, no help, only hope. They lived in tiny rooms, dirty rooms, rooms where hunger was always waiting. Some nights there was no food. Charlie went to bed with an empty stomach, and sometimes Hannah pretended to eat, just so her children could have more. Can you imagine being a child and watching your mother starve for you? The stage and the breakdown. Hannah was talented. She sang beautifully. She acted with passion. Charlie loved watching her perform. The stage felt like magic. It felt like safety. But one night, everything collapsed. In the middle of a performance, Hannah lost her voice. She tried to sing. Nothing came out. The audience became angry. They shouted. They threw things. And then, something unbelievable happened. In the middle of chaos, a small boy stepped forward. A 5-year-old saves the show. Charlie was only 5 years old. He walked onto the stage, small, scared, but brave. He sang, he danced, he made faces. The crowd stopped shouting. They started laughing, then clapping, then cheering. That was the moment Charlie felt it for the first time. The power of laughter. That night, a star was born, but his hardest days were still ahead. When hope disappears, poverty did not leave them. Pain did not leave them. After years of struggle, Hannah's mind began to break. She became confused. She became lost. Doctors came. They took her away. Charlie cried. He screamed. But no one listened. She was sent to a mental hospital. Charlie was still a child, but now he was alone. And this is where the real battle began. A boy with nothing except a dream. Charlie and his brother were sent to workhouses, cold places, cruel places. Charlie was only 7 years old. He was separated from his brother, left alone, forgotten. When he finally saw his mother again, she did not recognize him. Imagine that pain. Your own mother, looking at you like a stranger. Charlie had no home, no parents, no food. But inside him, one thing was still alive. A dream. What if your dream is bigger than your hunger? What if the stage is the only place where you feel alive? For Charlie Chaplin, the answer was simple. He wanted to be on stage, just like his mother. A dream stronger than poverty. Charlie wanted to make people laugh. He wanted to bring joy to others, even though life had shown him very little kindness. But he was poor. He was homeless. He was just a boy. Transition. So the question was simple, but painful. Where does a child with no money start? Working to survive. Dreaming to live. Charlie understood one thing. No one would save him. So he worked. He washed dishes. He delivered newspapers. He made toys with his hands. These jobs were hard. They paid almost nothing. But every day, his heart was somewhere else. On the stage. His body worked for survival. But his soul worked for his dream. The streets become his school. One day, Charlie saw street performers. They were acting. They were joking. They were making strangers laugh. And suddenly, something inside him woke up. This is my chance, he thought. Charlie joined them. He danced. He sang. He acted. At first, people didn't care. They walked past him. They ignored him. But Charlie did not stop, because giving up was never an option. Learning the language of laughter. Charlie watched other performers carefully. He studied their faces, their timing, their movements. Every mistake became a lesson. Every laugh became fuel. Slowly, something changed. People stopped. They watched. They smiled. They laughed. For the first time, Charlie felt real power. Not power over people, but power to make them happy. A boy who had nothing now had something priceless. A real chance. At 14. When Charlie was 14 years old, life opened a small door. He was hired by a performance group called the 8 Lancashire Lads. He was not the star. He was not famous. But he was inside the world of performance, and he worked harder than everyone, day and night, again and again. Hard work always leaves a mark. This boy is different. Charlie's talent could not stay hidden. A theater director watched him perform and said, "This boy is special." Charlie received bigger roles, more attention, more responsibility. At 16 years old, he got his first major role in the play Sherlock Holmes. Now he was no longer a street performer. He was an actor. People loved his expressions, his movements, his ability to speak without words. Charlie Chaplin was learning how to touch hearts in silence. A ship toward destiny. Then came the moment that changed everything. In 1910, Charlie received an incredible offer. He was invited to America to join Fred Karno's comedy company. America was the land of opportunity, the land of dreams. Charlie packed his bags. He stepped onto a ship and crossed the ocean toward his future. When he arrived, everything felt bigger, louder, faster, and one place shined brighter than all others: Hollywood. Charlie looked around and felt it in his bones. I am home, he thought, and my real story is only beginning. What if one costume, one walk, could change the history of film forever? In 1913, a small film studio noticed Charlie Chaplin. Its name was Keystone Studios. They gave him a tiny role in a silent movie. No promises, no fame. But Charlie saw something others didn't. An opening, creating a legend. Charlie didn't want to copy anyone. He wanted something new, something unforgettable. So he created a character, a small man, big shoes, oversized pants, a tight jacket, a tiny mustache, and a walk the world had never seen. The Tramp. At first, people were confused. Who is this man? Why does he walk like that? Then Charlie started moving. Laughter without words. Charlie didn't speak. He didn't need to. His body told the story. His eyes showed emotion. His movements spoke louder than words. People laughed. Then they laughed harder. And suddenly, the world understood. Charlie's films became a sensation. Producers wanted more. Studios fought for him. The homeless boy from London was becoming unstoppable, from star to phenomenon. By 1917, Charlie was no longer just famous, that he was everywhere. People stood in long lines to see his movies. His face filled newspapers, posters, magazines. Every country loved him. Every language understood him. But behind the smiles and applause, Charlie was still the same boy. The boy who once slept hungry. The boy who cried for his mother. The boy who survived. And now he wanted more than fame. A dangerous dream. Charlie didn't just want to act. He wanted control. Control over stories, over emotions, over music, over meaning. But Hollywood didn't like that. Actors were tools. Studios gave orders. Actors obeyed. Charlie said no. No one will own me. And with one decision, he shocked the entire industry, becoming his own boss. In 1918, Charlie did the unthinkable. He built his own studio, Chaplin Studios. Now he was free. Free to create. Free to experiment. Free to fail. And from that freedom came something powerful. The film that broke hearts. In 1921, Charlie released The Kid. It was more than a movie. It was his life. A poor man, an orphaned child, hunger, pain, love. People laughed. Then they cried. The world fell silent, and then applauded. Cinema was no longer just entertainment. It was emotion, power, money, and memory. With each film, Charlie grew stronger. Other actors earned $10 a week. Charlie earned $1 million per movie. He became the most powerful actor in the world. But he never forgot. The empty stomach, the cold streets, his mother alone in a hospital. So he worked harder than ever. Months, years, one film at a time. Every step planned, every joke tested, every emotion real. Because Charlie Chaplin didn't want success. He wanted immortality. And then he did something no one thought was possible. What happens when the world changes and you refuse to change with it? By the late 1920s, Hollywood was transforming. A new era had arrived. Movies with sound. Actors could finally speak on screen. People said silent cinema was dead, and everyone told Charlie the same thing: adapt or disappear. Choosing silence in a loud world. Charlie listened, and then he said no. Words are not everything, he believed. Emotion is stronger. While others rushed to make talking films, Charlie went in the opposite direction. In 1931, when silent movies were supposed to be finished, he released City Lights. No dialogue, no voices, only feeling, and the world was not ready for what they felt. A scene that broke. Millions of hearts people cried in theaters. They laughed. They stayed silent. The final scene, when the blind girl finally sees Charlie's face, became one of the most emotional moments in cinema history. Even today, many say, City Lights is the greatest silent film ever made. Charlie proved something unforgettable. Emotions speak louder than words. Comedy becomes a weapon. By the late 1930s, the world was changing again. Not in art, but in politics. In Germany, Adolf Hitler was rising to power, spreading fear, hate, war. Charlie noticed something strange. Hitler had the same mustache as him. People started comparing them. Charlie didn't laugh. He made a decision. This time, comedy would fight evil. The film that shocked the world. In 1940, Charlie released The Great Dictator. It was his first talking movie, but it wasn't made for laughs alone. It was a warning. In the final scene, Charlie speaks directly to the world, not as a character, but as a human being. We think too much and feel too little. More than machines, we need humanity. Let us fight for freedom. The world stopped and listened. From hero to enemy, millions loved the film, but Hollywood didn't. Charlie was too strong, too free, too dangerous. His political messages made powerful people angry. They attacked his reputation. They spread lies. They accused him of crimes without proof. And then came the final blow. In 1952, Charlie was forced to leave America. The country he helped build rejected him. Heartbroken, Charlie left. Exile and silence. Charlie moved to Switzerland. He stopped making movies. He lived quietly with his family. The cameras were gone. The applause was silent. But the world never forgot him, and time has a strange way of fixing mistakes. 12 minutes that changed everything. In 1972, after 20 years, Hollywood called him back. At the Oscars, Charlie walked onto the stage. The audience stood up. They clapped. Not for seconds, not for minutes. 12 minutes. The longest standing ovation in Oscar history. Charlie had won, not with anger, not with revenge, but with time. A legend and a mystery ahead. Charlie Chaplin taught the world one simple truth. Never give up. No matter how hard life is, no matter who tries to silence you. He started with nothing and became immortal. But behind the fame, his private life was full of pain, broken love, betrayal, exile, and even after his death, something unbelievable happened. His body was stolen from his grave. And that story is even more shocking than his films. He could make the whole world laugh, but in love, his life was full of storms. Charlie Chaplin was a genius on screen, but in his heart, things were never simple. A heart that loved too much. Charlie fell in love easily, too easily. He was married 4 times. His first 3 marriages ended badly. There were arguments, pain, court battles. Each time, Charlie lost money, and each time, he lost a piece of himself. People started saying, he can make millions laugh, but he cannot make one woman happy. Transition, and then when no one expected it, everything changed. The love that saved him. In 1943, Charlie was 54 years old. That year, he met Una O'Neill. She was 18. People were shocked. They judged. They criticized. But Charlie didn't listen. For the first time in his life, he felt peace. Una didn't want his money. She didn't want his fame. She wanted him. And when the world turned against Charlie, she stayed. A real family at last. Una became his wife, his best friend, his protector. They had 8 children together. For the first time, Charlie had what he never had as a child. A real family, a safe home, love without fear. Despite the age difference, they were truly happy. And far away from Hollywood, Charlie finally rested a quiet life in Switzerland. Charlie lived in Switzerland for 25 years. His life was calm, peaceful, simple. He read books, wrote letters, played with his children. He walked in his garden. He thought about his past. Sometimes He watched his old films and smiled. Even in silence, the world remembered him. The day the world stopped laughing. On December 25th, 1977, Christmas Day, Charlie Chaplin died in his sleep. He was 88 years old. The news shocked the world. A man who made billions laugh was gone. Newspapers wrote, "The world has lost its greatest comedian." People cried in every country. But even after death, Charlie's story was not finished. The shocking crime. After death. 3 months later, something unbelievable happened. Thieves broke into his grave. They opened the coffin and stole Charlie Chaplin's body. Yes, his body was kidnapped. The criminals demanded $600,000 from his family, but Una refused. She said calmly, Charlie would have laughed at this. After weeks of investigation, the thieves were caught. They were 2 poor men from Eastern Europe, desperate to escape poverty. Charlie's body was returned. This time, he was buried in a strong cement-covered grave, so no one could ever steal him again. A man who never truly died. Charlie Chaplin died in 1977, but he is still alive. Every time we laugh, he lives. Every time a movie touches our heart, he lives. He taught the world something simple but powerful. Life is not about money, not about fame, not about power. Life is about laughter, love, and never giving up. The final lesson. Charlie was once a hungry boy, homeless, forgotten, but he never stopped dreaming. Even when life was cruel, even when the world turned against him, and because of that, he became immortal. If Charlie Chaplin could rise from nothing, so can you. Dream big, work hard, never give up. Because one day your story might inspire the world.